All right, let's talk the Miami Dolphins here for a little bit. Look, obviously, the season did not end as well as anyone hoped to, especially the ways the season started. But I think there's a very bright future in Miami. They are definitely in the middle of their title window. They obviously have to address a huge position on their franchise, and that is their next defensive coordinator, with Vic Fangio departing and become the defensive coordinator over at the Philadelphia Eagles. And it looks like the Dolphins may be targeting a veteran DC who I think could be a perfect hire for Miami. It may not seem that way, but I think there's a great chance to be a great move for the Dolphins. We'll get into the report, and then we'll talk about it more on the other side. And the guy that the Dolphins are looking to hire is none other than veteran DC Leslie Frazier. And according to NBC Sports, Frazier interviewed for coaching jobs with the Chargers and Raiders. He didn't get either of those jobs and remains out of work, but maybe not for long. Frazier, who did not coach in 2023, has an interview scheduled for this week with the Dolphins for the defensive coordinator position. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN reports. Fowler's a top-notch reporter over at ESPN. He's a really good guy. Great follow for anyone who's looking for some good news. Former Chargers head coach Brandon Staley, Bills linebackers coach Bobby Badgett, Dolphins outside linebackers coach Ryan Slowick, and Dolphins linebackers coach Anthony Campanelli are also candidates. Frazier, 64, was most recently Buffalo's defensive coordinator from 2017 through 2022. He took the year off from football, announcing last February he would return to coaching in 2024. All right, so I think it's clear what the Miami Dolphins are doing here in terms of their targets for defensive coordinator, namely Leslie Frazier, who I think is their front runner based on rumors and reports. They need to beat the Buffalo Bills. They need a guy who can take down Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And the only guy who I think has a chance to do that is someone with familiarity with Buffalo, and that would be Leslie Frazier, who, by the way, is a very experienced, outstanding defensive coordinator in his own right. I think Leslie Frazier was wrongly blamed for a lot of Bills issues. We've seen the Bills in 2023. They didn't go anywhere in the playoffs either, right? They got knocked out by Kansas City at home in the divisional round. So it's not like firing Leslie Frazier suddenly made the Bills Super Bowl champions. It basically was with Frazier, they were in the divisional round at home last year when they got knocked out. Without Frazier, same situation. So it doesn't look like the Bills letting go of Leslie Frazier was a great move on their part. Buffalo's lost. I think is Miami's gain here. I think Leslie Frazier has the best chance to help the Dolphins come up with this scheme to stop Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I think that's exactly what the Dolphins are doing here, and I think it's a great strategy. I think this has a chance to be a perfect hire for Miami. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this potential move for the Miami Dolphins. But first, Dolphins fans, let us know in the comment section below. Who do you want to be the next defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins? Is it Frazier? Is it one of the other guys mentioned in this report? Is it somebody else? Let us know who you want to be the next Dolphins DC and put them in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this potential move from Miami and what it could mean for the Dolphins going forward.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really interesting hire, especially you bring up the aspect of Frazier being so intimately knowledgeable about the Buffalo Bills. One of the teams that gives the Dolphins quite a lot of trouble, quite frankly, is a team that, they can't seem to get past. That is their cross to bear as far as teams that give them a very hard time. Leslie Frazier is a guy who probably knows the ins and outs, especially of the defensive side of the ball for the Buffalo Bills. But I think you look at the Dolphins, you look on paper, their defense seems like it did pretty well. But when the rubber met the road a couple of times this year, they've went up against some good or even better offenses. You look at the Philadelphia game, you look at the Buffalo game, 48 points versus Buffalo they gave up, 31 points against Philadelphia they gave up. This is a team who really kind of had some tough losses as far as, you look against the Ravens, 56 points against the Ravens. You got to slow teams like that down. You got to be able to stop them if you're going to be competitive in the NFL at the highest level. Dolphins offense, not a problem. They do really, really good, especially when healthy. They got that cooking. Now they need to get the defensive side of the ball underway. And when healthy, the Dolphins have a ton of great talent. Van Ginkel's phenomenal. Chubb's phenomenal. Phillips, Wilkins, their whole front four, all great. Their secondary, great. Got Jalen Ramsey. Cater Kohu is very good. Holland was really good. Deshaun Elliott was good in spells. Howard has been good in the past. I think this is a guy, Leslie Frazier, who can come in, and it seems weird saying this, he's a great turnaround artist for defenses. He took that Vikings team. They went 3-13 under his first year, 10-6 the second year, get a playoff berth. Then he took that Bills defense. They really did very well. He got them all the way up into the top 10 in points allowed for 4 times during his tenure as the coordinator. Really top tier defense. in 2021 was by far his best season. That was, obviously unfortunate for him. After that, he was let go the very next season. So this is just his way of this is a very good coach. He can turn defenses around and get them up to the highest level. And this is Miami Dolphins defense has the players. I think they just need the right coach to get this defense going in the right direction. And that guy could be Leslie Frazier.
And I think it's something to bring up, right? Again, and I want to harp on this. A lot of blame was placed on Leslie Frazier in Buffalo. That was wrong. It was stupid. And I think the Bills hurt themselves with that. In the last two seasons, 2021 and 2022, no team in the NFL, both those seasons, surrendered fewer yards than the Buffalo Bills. They were number one in yards surrendered in 2021 and in 2022. In 2023, they fell to ninth, right? Leslie Frazier was not addition. Getting rid of Leslie Frazier was not addition by subtraction for Buffalo. It was literally the definition of subtraction by subtraction. And Vic Fangio, I think he's a good coach. I think he does a lot of good things for the secondary. I think it's clear based on the performances against the Ravens, against both those Bills games, that he was not what the Miami Dolphins need to win playoff games. Look, I know the Dolphins had a lot of injuries. That played a big factor in it. But no matter the injuries, you need to put up better performances. I think Leslie Frazier has the ability to do that just because he leads elite defenses almost regardless of talent. You brought up his performance in Minnesota. His stats at Buffalo speak for themselves. I think this would be a perfect hire for the Miami Dolphins. I think Mike McDaniel should pull the trigger on this one because I think this could be one of the missing pieces along with, not having 30 season-ending injuries to put the Dolphins in a position to make a deep playoff run.